PoE, I don't think you could do that
No.
unless wait, hold up, you might be able to if you make
I feel
it
like
abide.
I feel like an idea coming on.
I feel like if it abides by your loot filter.
Explain.
So if at the end of a map, after you kill the boss, it opens up the screen, and depending on how strict your loot filter is, like, because you know how like if you're doing Gwenin or anything that involves like re-rolling gear or things of that nature, you can put your loot filter settings in there to highlight certain shit. Like you can do that where it just ignores all the things that your loot filter would ignore, and then just pops up all the gear that would have
Like
popped out.
sounds like that's simulacrum.
Yes.
Oh no, not simulacrum, but delirium.
Yeah, but the simulacrum is delirium. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know the actual content itself. Well, I know they're both content, but I mean like the mini game one where you find a mirror, you break the mirror, and then you kill everything, and at the end you get the
Like I like that. It's also the way that works with Legion. When you're doing the multiple way legions. Have you done those yet?
Well, even the regular Legion, you kill it, and then the loot comes out.
I'm talking. So
I know what you're talking about. No, I know what you're talking about. But also the way the regular Legion, the way it works, is also not as bad. Like as you're going around killing everything, then it slowly starts coming out, not all at once.
Right.
Or it doesn't pop in immediately to clutter the screen.
Like I think there are ways of like elegantly handling that. Like I would be okay with just having a delirium style reward based on
so like it's like a jackpot machine of like you run a whole map and it saves it right to the end.
Right. But that's the whole thing, right? Because it's scary because you're not sure if you're actually like getting the loot from that hyena.
I wonder if that would slow down like the speed in which you go. Like if at the end you have to stop.
I think that would speed you up though. Because you have a build that just wrecks everything on the way to the boss. You kill the boss, and then you just sit still for a second. You look. If it's not in something like on your loot filter, then you just leave.
Depending on your build, yes.
Right.
Because you don't have to backtrack. I know some people hate backtracking, and they'll leave the vines back there because they don't want to run back. But depending on your build, like Toxic Rain builds.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I played a Toxic Rain build. I know exactly how that is. As a matter of fact, my totem build is very much the same because normally what I'm doing is I'm throwing my traps. My traps are spawning my totems. My totems, when they die, are spreading some shit. That gives me phasing, and I'm running through the next pack because I'm dropping traps.
Right, and then you hear the you got to run back.
And I'm like, fuck. And then it's just, and then all the ground shit starts being an actual factor. Like, yeah.
I can't help but to think about the jackpot machine in the casino, where, like, at the end, you go, you pull it, and you go,
but I also don't want it to be one of those things where, like, you get to the end and it gives you a set amount of rewards. You know what I mean? Like, that's the problem with it, is it ends up being...
I'm sure you could just program it. I mean, this may just be like a coding, like a maybe a nightmare, but
I wonder
you could just scale it based on what you killed.
Right, but the thing is that's what I don't want. Right,
like,
I don't want it to.
I can see the programming being, all right, when this thing is killed, its loot table will drop in this location at X time.
Okay. Right. I think that would be fine because I think, how do I explain what my issue is? I think my issue is when is the loot rolled for?
When you kill it.
Right. Like, I think if when I kill it, you're just saving the drop until the end, whatever it dropped, it still does.
You could just easily put it into a box.
Right. I just don't want that thing that some games do where it's like it gives you a bar to fill up and then...
Oh, that sounds like delirium.
Right, but but Delirium has an icon based on the reward.
Right, but it also
And
goes
the
up
rewards
how
are
fast you kill, how much you kill.
It's true, but I feel okay. I don't even know because again, like, is the loot being rolled at the end?
Well, I
I don't
mean,
like the
it's
thought
just,
of
it's a programming. What you're referring to is like a programming thing, depending on how you program it. To how are you rolling for the loot? But if we leave it as is, the exception for that is just to transport the loot instead of dropping in front of your feet. It would drop into a box near the boss.
right. Does that now actually weird question? Does that matter to you when the loot is being rolled for? Like what part? Like because when I kill a monster, right? Because this is my when I kill a monster, I want to know that when I killed that monster is when the RNG fucking machine decided what I'm getting. The timing of that matters to me for some fucking odd reason, which is why I never.
I guess I never. As far as the programming side of things, I've never remember playing a game where it gave that to me like that. So I don't know how that would feel.
Well, I can give you.
I think as long as it's rewarding and it doesn't hamper the gameplay as much, I think I'll be fine with either one.
So, did you get an igneous geode this week?
Yeah.
Now, this was a question I would love to ask, like Chris Wilson. When I opened the igneous geode, was what I get determined when I picked it up, or when I click it? To me, again, weird thing.
No, I can answer that question. It's when it dropped.
You think so?
Yeah, because you've said this before with other items. When an item drops, it gets a unique code. It gets a unique item code, and that item code does not change. Even if you trade it, even if it goes next league, it just stays that way. This is how legacy items exist.
Right, but now because like this is my other question with it, like because I wonder if that's like blanket across the board, because I always wonder like when I get a watcher's eye and I'm identifying that shit, I'm wondering,
there's no two items the same.
Right, but is the watcher's eye that I have already what it is before I identify it? And if that's the case, then that's just interesting that that makes me so happy that is the case.
This is why it boggles your mind as far as like, how the fuck does this game even work at the scale that it is? Because if you have over 1 billion unique items, not uniques in the sense of like their actual classification, but like each item that drops has its own item number, item code, or whatever
value. Yeah.
So even if you have 1,000 Watcher's Eye, each one of those Watcher's Eye are a unique item, even if they are identical. In the eyes of, and Chris has said this, it's still a different item. Right. From a programming point of view. So it's the moment it drops, it comes into existence, and it's just that's what it is. But it doesn't exist until it drops.
That is hella interesting, because I think that's actually why. So, for instance, if you have, say, you have like 10 strand maps.
I'll go a step further. Hold on, I'll go a step further. This is how they know whether or not you duped or not.
Okay.
Because even orbs, like even if you have a stack of 50 divines, it's in the loot filter. They can go in and see the item code for every one of those. And if any of them are doubled, that's all the proof they need. But yeah, you go ahead. You say it was the strand map.
If you have 10 strand maps, and you know how you can do the 3-for-1?
Yeah.
You can use those 10 strand maps and sell them in different combinations to try to get a map you're actually looking for.
Yeah.
Because each of those item codes is actually different.
Yeah.
So, okay, I understand how